Hello and good evening, or good afternoon even. Welcome to Trisha time, and it's Wednesday at 4:30, so it's time for another demo. And I wonder who is going to be joining me today. No comments appearing yet, but I'm sure, as I'm a couple of minutes late, did put a little post just to say what we're going to be doing today. And just as a little reminder, because I think, no, I was on last week, most days, and here we are back again. It's Wednesday. So I haven't actually had sewing club today, so it's been a little bit more time, but hello Carol, time soon flies by. So yes, I can see you coming along now. Got my little bits and pieces prepared. Hello Lindsay, no doubt I should have forgotten something. Hello Maria. So the bag, oh, I've got it out of the way, haven't I? So this is the one that I'm going to be showing you how to make with the recessed zipper, and the zip is there, but I am actually going to be making it in a different fabric. Hello Beverly, because it didn't have much of a showing on the show. Hello Alison. Last Saturday, in fact only at the very end, and I actually did sell out, although not on the show. Hello Sarah. So hello Sue. So I thought there may be more people who would actually like to be able to make one of these. So as I'm going, hello Dorothy, as I'm going to have it on my next shows in October, hello Anne, I thought, you know what, hello Sharon, I am going to make one in a different colourway. Hello Linda. So I'm going to show you the different colourway I've got today so that it makes my sample at the same time, and I'm one step ahead. Hello Joanna, hello Anne, did I miss anybody there? And hello Wendy. No, we said hello to Linda, didn't we? Yes, Joanna, Anne, Wendy, oh, Linda, Jane, lovely, and Sue, hello to you all, and Linda as well. So, oh, there's Karen, hello Karen. I just love this fabric, can't help it. I was cutting it today. Hello Sheila, hello Josie, a massive hello to new members. Aha, that's lovely, thank you. Hello Jill. Made any more mini quilts yet? Yes, I've got to design another one for Friday. So, and looks a good idea. Yes, I thought that, Beverly, because time for me is so limited. Oh, Mary, jolly good. You keep watching. I just have to make the most of it. So if I can multitask or dual task. Hello, Christine. I will. No, I haven't, Anne. It is in the process. I've still got things to cut out. Didn't really feel like being a busy show, but it actually was. I'm still cutting and packing, so I did get some of the, you're doing your mug rug swap. Well done, Jill. Who's that saying there? Oh, hello, Jill. So there's still some website orders and other orders to go, but I just can't do it all. And basically, I get chased from all ends, and Create and Craft, unfortunately, will be on to me tomorrow saying you haven't got them out within 2 days. So because I had cut so much beforehand, but still had more to do. So it will be on the way, definitely by Friday, and hopefully tomorrow, but I've still got more to do, and I can't help it. As I say, one of the other things that happened today, poor little Charlie fell off a bike at school, so he's cut all of his lip. So Mummy had to come home, Grandma went down to school to pick him up, and then within 10 minutes I was back down the school again to collect Oliver. So, you know, time is just against me all the time. I would love to be able to, I'd love to be able to do phone calls all the time and speak to you all the time. Oh, thank you, Beverly. I know you said, that's lovely, thank you. I've got bits and pieces there. Oh, jolly good, Linda. But yes, you know, I am one person. Even Martin, with the help that he gives me, he doesn't know what bits are, and it's easier to pick them up myself than to ask him. Okay, Anne, it will as soon as I can, I promise you. Yeah, poor little Charlie. He's got a really fat lip, but he's being very brave, and well, at least he's got out of his booster that he was going to have tomorrow. He's going to have the school booster jabs tomorrow, but he's got out of that. It's not a very good way of trying to get out of it, but he did, bless him, because I don't think he'll feel up to it tomorrow. But there we go. All these things are sent to try. So I thought you would, hello Jacqueline, is that a new name? Welcome to the group if it's the first time you've commented. It's always lovely to see you. Hello Sue. Sue's bought this bag, haven't you, Sue? They're still being packed at the minute. Good afternoon, Margaret. So I'd started cutting, but then I was interrupted, unfortunately. But hopefully they'll be winging their way tomorrow, along with lots more as well. And hopefully finishing everything tomorrow. But it just takes time, as I say. Hello Gita, lovely to see you. Yes, so making this, hello Christine, perhaps you have never done a recess lip before, so you have been before. Oh, sorry Jacqueline, lovely to see you again then. I just, sometimes I don't remember names, and well, often I don't remember names, but it's lovely to see you here again. And I don't want to get a cough and a sore throat like everybody else seems to be having as well. So, no, that was just a little bit of dry throat. So yes, I'm going to show you how to do this, and actually, it really is quite easy. So if you like the fabric that this is made in, I have put kits on the website, and I've also put the instruction packs as a PDF on the website too. So I'll just show you how to put it all together. And what I thought was today, because there's quite a few of you here anyway, and I haven't brought my phone up, so I won't be able to answer questions as we go. I thought I would get started almost straight away, because I'm going to do it from start to finish, as long as I don't have to knit off. You bought your rulers. Oh yeah, the majority of rulers, Gita, have gone out, because I had got them all packed and ready to go. So hopefully it was Tuesday they went, because nothing was working on Monday, of course. And so yes, Tuesday. So you never know, tomorrow you could be seeing these rulers. So I'll give you a quick, because these are on the website too, which I did show you last week. Let's put them against here. So these are the rulers. Now, Johnny's nephew and his partner, his niece, husband, sister and brother-in-law went down to... Oh no! Oh goodness, Beverly, you don't want that, do you? No. Afternoon, Kirsty. You're a bit late finishing work today. Ah. Right, 8x5. Now, as, who was it, Sheena, I think, pointed out, silly me didn't even think this is exactly the same size as our mug rugs. So, if you don't like measuring, the next time you come to cut your piece of wadding or your backing fabric, or not the backing fabric, but the background fabric, all you need to do... Oh, you're still in hospital, Gita. Well, hope all is well, and you'll be home next week, improving very soon. Yeah. All you need to do is cut round this 8x5. Oh, it's a new variant, Sarah. Oh, no. Yeah, cut round your 8x5 ruler, and bingo, you have it. And then in the set, there is the 2.5 inch wide. So half the width of the 8x5. Oops, no, not that one, this one. That's it. And then in my hand, don't think I can hold two. Let's see if we can at the top. In my hand, I have half of the 2.5, which is the 1.25. And they're 8 inches long, and they are extremely useful. In fact, I'm going to use one for measuring what we're measuring today. So, as I say, they are on the website, and they are $37.99 on there. Now, actually, yes, right. don't buy any yet, because I will change it to free postage if you're watching today. I forgot to do that, or did I? Can't remember. But I'll get that changed so that it's free postage for you on the website. So there's the rulers. This is the one I'm going to be using today. See how handy it is? Fits in my hand. Easy to measure. Lovely. Right, so shall we begin? So for those who are just joining, what we are going to make, this is the Housey bag. And I wonder why it's called Housey, because there's lots of houses all over that fabric. And the contrast fabric is denim, and I thought it goes really quite well. Afternoon, Trisha. So I'm going to show you how to make this one with a recessed zip. So it's got denim for the first little bit at the top, and then the zip sits low in the bag. Afternoon, Jan. So makes it lovely and secure. Now in the kit, these handles aren't, I mean, they're the length that I like. They are still quite long. Can you see there how long they are? But probably on its way, Patricia. Oh no, if it's one of these, it'll be out tomorrow. So you might get it Saturday or Monday. So with this, the strip widths of fabric that you get are far longer. So if you like a really long bag, you can put a full length. Similarly with the one I'm going to show you, I've actually cut that strip down as well, because I like it just a length to go over my shoulders, tuck under my arm. It's a little bit longer than that, but as I say, the whole width of fabric is almost 60 inches. So if you're a short-bodied person, you could even make it a cross-body bag and have it under your coat and get loads in it. Oh, you bought it on Saturday. You want to know how to do it right, Kirsty. The funny thing was, I didn't even demo it, but it sold out. So because it sold out just towards the end and it wasn't mentioned, there wasn't a chance to put any more in stock there. But I will always have some here, so not a problem. Right, so what I'm going to do, I just sat, I thought I'd got plenty of time, but I sat just pinning one of the handles on. Hello, Barbara. And so obviously I have the other one to put on. So the fabric, let me just show you through it. So this is a different fabric. As I say, I haven't got this on the website, but this is the fabric that I shall be using. And I rather liked it when I saw it. So, yes, I will have. I haven't got them made up. I've got to make some more up. If you want to send an email, Joanna. Hello, Jane. And hello, Janet. Just a date night. I had to check in. Oh, yes. So, yes, I will have some more heart mini quilts. I don't know if they're on the website or not. Or I don't know if I put the other ones on as well. But just drop me an email and I can always... Yeah. So there we are. So there is the fabric. Yeah, I rather liked it. Now, I've had it probably 6 weeks or so, but never got round to making anything with it. So I've got it together with a lovely terracotta canvas. So this is canvas, and the plain is canvas as well. So what a kit will have in it, just like the Housey one, is the main fabric there. You'll get the contrast fabric. I've already used fabric adhesive to put the wadding on the back of that as well. You will get your widths of fabric for the handles, and you can see if I fold this up, if I fold it, that's in half. So there, it's 4 times that length. So it's about, this is about 54. Your pad was, oh, there was a Morris one, Joanna, yes. In the heart one, not in any of the others. So there are your handles. Then we have a terracotta zip, which is extra long. And we have lining. And we have what goes around the zip, the lining, and the terracotta. And then that inside, so at the top of the bag, on the inside, instead of lining showing, it's going to be the canvas that goes with it as well. So what we'll do first of all, let's pop that over there. as I say, I've already pinned. So the first thing we're going to do is to make the handles, and I've pressed these already because it just takes time. But similar to normal, we fold it in half and press. Then we open it out, fold one raw edge to the center and press, then the other raw edge to the center and press, and then fold it in half and press. So it is beautifully aligned at those folded edges and ready to pop onto our bag. So as I say, as I have already put the length I wanted, I haven't stitched it, I have pinned it on. What I'm going to do is use the bit I cut off. So that piece I cut off. So all I'm going to do is line that piece, whoops, with my other long piece, and I'm going to cut exactly the same amount off. Okay, so then I know I don't want those. This long piece here is just the right length for my bag. So let's do the first one. So I will be showing you this part twice so that you know exactly what to do. So what we'll do first of all is just turn our light off. I'm not using, I'm going to turn it down. There we are, there's some light on there. So close that down. Let's go on to our 1/4 inch seam allowance. But this time I'm going to use a standard length of stitch here. So let's see here. A little bit of light, but I think we can see what we're doing here. So I have my fabric. If it's got a direction, just make sure that it is in the right direction for when it's there we go. No, need to go back a little bit. There we are. That's it. Jolly good. So I've got my my handle, and what I'm doing, not that it matters, but I'm going to keep this edge which is folded and open. I'm going to have that facing into the center of my fabric. So I'm going to pop this in, and the instructions will tell you that, oh, where's my little ruler gone now? Nope, no. I thought oh, here it is, here it is. So I've got my little ruler here, and I'm just going to use this. So this is 4 inches. I'm having these handles in, and I'm going to have, so I'm just putting my ruler along here, 4 inches in, and I'm going to sit it so that it is halfway. So the 4 inches is halfway across my handle, and I have some pins. So all I'm going to do is just pin that. So you notice I haven't stitched my handles yet, but I'm just going to pin that in place at the bottom. And then I also want to know that this is vertical, that it's straight up there. So I'm going to move my ruler and make sure it's still halfway across, like so, and I can see that's nice and straight. And then I'm going to put another marker at 8 inches, which is exactly the length of my ruler. So I'm just going to put my ruler against it, and I'm just going to put a pin into the handle, and this is where I'm going to stop stitching. So from there, what I need to do, because this handle, which is then going to come down here, needs to be not twisted, I'm just going to hold this like so that I make sure that it's going the right way. So it's coming down here, and then we can pull the handle out to the back and just make sure there's no twist in this part here. So I know that's correct, and then I'm just going to lay that to the side. Then I'm going to put my ruler here again for 4 inches, and we're just going to move that over just a little bit, just there, and that is 4 inches. So again, I'm going to get myself a pin, and I'm just going to, I've actually got the selvage there, which is a bit silly, I should have chopped that off. So that's 4 inches there, and then we'll just move this up, and that's nice and straight. And oops, it's not, needs to come over a little bit more. So that's perfectly straight, because I've got the halfway on the 4 inch, and then I'm going to measure here. the whole, whoops, I've just moved that across. We'll measure it again in a moment, but I think I've shifted it back across. And so that's 8 inches up here. So it's not quite to the top because we want this here to be free. So let's just measure there for, yeah, that's nice and straight. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to stitch from this outside edge, and then I'm going to go across here and down this side here. So let's have a look. So we have our, so I'm going to pop, in actual fact, I'm going from the middle here. So I can take the pin out and just hold it. And we are going to, yeah, I'll go with a, I've got coordinating coloured thread, which I was lucky enough to be able to find. So let's pop our, or pop the, I don't want to lose my zipper foot. That's it. Right, so I'm just making sure that is nice and straight as we stitch up there. And so I'm going through, I popped the wadding, I didn't say, but I popped the wadding on the back here. And then we are just going straight up here. And when I get to the pin, that's it, I'm not quite there. So just a little bit further. Now I'm going to pivot around. I'm going to sew across here, and then I'm going to go back down the other side. So we haven't got a very long stitch. Perhaps it would have been better with a longer stitch. I'm on 2.5, but that's fine. So I've sewn one side of the handle on, and as you can see, up here, across and down. So I'm going to do exactly the same with the other side. So I've swiveled it around, and we'll start stitching up this side here. So I'm just pulling that fairly taut so that I can keep that nice and straight. So up one side, another couple of stitches, and then we'll turn that around and stitch across. If you wanted to do a little box there, you could, but I'm just doing it straight across and straight back down the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've got both of those pieces on now, and you can see there's a little bit left. So now this is still open. So what I do here is just fold that back, fold that other fabric there to the back so that I don't stitch it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going around this outer edge and then across here and up the inner edge and across to the outside. So fairly simple. So I'm just going to, yeah, that's right. So we'll just go around this outside edge. It's unusual that actually I'm not stitching. What I usually do is stitch the open edge first of all, but it's just the way the, there we go. It's just the way the handle's fixed that I need to just take those bits of thread out of the way there. Just the way the handle is fixed. I suppose had I put those on the outside, so I'm just going to go as close as I can to that other piece that I went across, and then I'm going to pivot there, and I'm just going to stitch across there to the outside and come back along this outer edge. So we are going around, and this is probably the most difficult part of it. But let's just bring that back up there. Just make sure your outer edges are lined up, and that's why when I press, I always press the last fold in place as well, because it just gives a really good finish because they're all lined up. So again, I'm just coming down to where we started, a little bit more, that's it, and then I'm just going to pivot to go across here, and I will just stitch across there. And now what I'll do, just for security, I'm just going to stitch a couple of stitches into the next or into the bit that I did first of all, and then we can just trim that away. So a little bit of thread there, a little bit of thread on the back, and by using a thread that is practically the same, any little indiscrepancies are all there we are. So I've got a little bit, so we've got that little bit there, okay, and there is the rest of the bag. Okay, so that wasn't too arduous, was it? So we have our handle attached to that part. Pop that down there. Now I've got the other one all ready to go, and we do need, as I'm doing all of it, we do need to do this one as well. So just a little recap here. Oops, don't go too fast. So up that outer edge. I'll take the pin out. I know I can do 3, 4, 5 more stitches, and across we go. So just horizontally across there and down the other side, and you'll know you've gone far enough if the foot is lined up perfectly with the edge, which that was. So you see that's just nice and quick. And then again we'll go on the other side here, just put in the right place. We can take that pin out straight away and pop that in there. And so I'm just holding that down. You can pin across there if you like, but just if you've got your pin going across the top, that's just holding that nice and straight anyway. So then we'll pivot across here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. Whoops. Almost too far, but not quite. That's it. And straight back down. So quite quick. And cut. And now it's just these other pieces here. So again, I'm going to this top edge. I'm going to fold this back so it's out of the way, and then I'm just going to go up this outer edge here. So same distance from the edge as the other, and we'll just let that sail around the edge here. Don't let the bag pull away too much, otherwise your stitching will just go out of line. I like to keep it as straight as we can. But as I said, by using a thread which is very similar to the terracotta canvas, you can't see it. Right, so fairly close. I should try and get as close, on the same distance on each side, but I haven't. So I'm just pivoting around again and back down here. So stitching its way away. I'll have to pull the bag up in a minute so that the rest of the handle is coming nice. Whoops, without. Let's put that in there. When you've got a big space on the needle bed, it just needs filling with something, doesn't it? So screwdrivers, I suppose. When I put the free motion foot on the other day. So even though I've had to do both pieces here, you can see it's not that. I'll just get nice and close. That's it. It really hasn't taken too long at all. So straight across there, into my first row of stitching, and then, as I say, I'll just do a couple of stitches into that row of stitching that I did originally. Okay, so again, clip that thread off, clip the thread off at the back, and then that's all neat. We've got our two, we've got our front and our back, so that's a lot better there. Can you see it's just like a double row of stitching there? I can't see much. Can you, like, oh, has it gone out of the way? Okay, how about that? I thought you could see the whole of it, but perhaps not the stitching. But all I've done is I stitched, this is the bottom, up towards the top. Oh, let's go here. So from the bottom up to the 8-inch mark, across, down, and then afterwards I've gone from the inside edge all the way around, across and inside. So there's my 2 there. So the next thing we need to do is the zip portion. So I'm just going to pop on the iron. Or we could have finished that. No, what we'll do first of all, we'll put the base on here. We'll put the base on the main bag. So my handles are here. Here is my base, and I've cut squares out at each end of the base, and I'm going to, let's just, okay, so that is going to go down here. So all we're going to do is put right sides together and align those, pin if you'd like to, but they line up across here. And then I'm going to do I might do a bigger stitch actually. I'll do a 3. So we're just going to go straight across here. Just bring that in a little bit then. And keeping that nicely aligned at the edge. 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, so there is our first one. And then we'll do our second one too. So here we are, the handles at the top and the base. Here is our base part. So right sides together, again with those squares cut out. It's just the easiest way to make a bag base. So there we go, across. Just keeping that nicely aligned. And see there's an extra bit of wadding, but it's not the canvas. Then what we're going to do is fold that back. So I've left the seam allowance coming this way, and when I fold that back, I'm going to top stitch on the canvas here. So I will have to just turn this around this way, and I'm just going to top stitch along here. That's it. There we go. So I'm going to do a bigger stitch just to go along here. So we'll get that going. Just going to move those things out of the way. So I can feel, can you see the seam allowance is under, it's coming this way. So when I'm top stitching on the canvas, I'm holding down that, and that bumping is because I went off of it from being straight. It's when I'm going over the handles. So, oh, not too bad. So then you have got some top stitching along there. Now the other thing I like to do is stitch from where this square cutout is, stitch across here to the other side, because I mean it does work better if you're using Styleville, which is the foam, but it just gives it a little bit of shape to the bottom of the bag. So by all means draw yourself a line or eyeball it. Look at that. And then it's a very subtle, can you see there? It's a very subtle stitch line which just gives a little bit of shape, a sort of crisper fold to the bottom of your bag. So that's one piece done. And then again with our second piece, I've already stitched that on, so I'm just going to fold that back, make sure the there we go, make sure the seam is underneath where I'm stitching, and that just holds it down. So I'm just pushing that back and stitching across. And I'll show you on the back, you can see there it's stitched that seam allowance down, and then on the front we've got that nice top stitching along there. And then again I'm going to stitch from this cutout square across to the other side. So I mean it may be a good idea to draw a line, but as I say, I am just going to eyeball across, and hopefully we'll get that nice and straight. Yep, that worked again as well. So there is my stitch line across there, and it just gives that square bottom to the bag. So we've got those 2 pieces, so that's the main part of it done really. So there's our 2 outers. So now is the time when we need to do the zip. So what I'm going to do first of all, that's some thread I pulled off. So with my zip, I have 2 pieces of canvas, which will be on the inside, and then my lining is some lovely calico. And what we're going to do, so you've got 4 pieces, 2 of the outer and 2 of the lining. And I've got my iron at the ready. We are going to fold back 1/4 inch, so to the wrong side. So if your lining was a pretty fabric, it's got a design on it, you would want that to, so just press that one over as well, you would want this to be the wrong side. So you're folding the right side of the fabric to the back. And then again here, I may have to, when I put these together, because if I haven't measured obviously my 1/4 inch, so I'm just turning back a little bit, which is about 1/4 inch, without burning my fingers. Okay, and then we'll just flip these round because it's easier to press from this side so that you can see. So there we go. So the first one, let's do the top one first. Just press that back about 1/4 inch. It needs to be pressed back. If you press it back more, it just means you'll have a shorter area for your recessed zip. And then just the 2 calico pieces as well. But I think, you know, if you've done a lot of 1/4 inch seams, you just get used to seeing 1/4 inch as well. Okay, so that's got those both done. We do need as well, where have my other little bits gone? That is typical. I have got 2 little pieces for my tabs, and I have flicked those somewhere. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Right, there's my lining, and there are those. Oh, I bet they've stuck to the back of the bag or something along those. Now, there are they. De-dum-de-dum. I've got those 2 little bits, I know I had. So there are my bag lining, and that is my lining also. And what I'm going to do, what am I going to do? We will find that in just a sec. So bear with me for 1 minute while I search for a bit of fabric which has just disappeared. Is it on the base there? No. So there is 1, there is 2. They're just my little tab pieces to go on the back of my, oh, I do apologise. Bear with, I'm just going to run downstairs and see where that's gone. Right, I'm back. I didn't pick them up. So there are my little tab pieces. That is what I had gone for. So I'll just pop those back here a moment because we need to, these are going to sit over the, let's see, is my iron on? These are going to fit over the end of the zip just to make it pretty. So we will just, we're going to have 2 on this one. The actual Housey bag had only got 1. So this one's just going to be slightly different, but nothing that makes a big difference. So the Housey bag has got one end that is enclosed, if you like, but this one is going to have a little bit of excess zip at both ends. So we're just going to, what I'm doing is again just ironing to the wrong side, 1/4 inch, and then I'm going to fold it right sides together like so. And this is a little bit oversized, but by the time we have stitched and trimmed, so right sides together now so that you can see those pieces of fabric which I have turned back. I'll just move that out of the way. We'll move that there and that there. And then what with these, we are just going to sew down each side like so. And at the top, I'm going to reverse because I don't want that to come undone. And cut. Should have done the same one at the other one at the same time. So you can take a larger seam allowance if you'd like to on this, because it is slightly oversized in the zip, but it still looks quite nice being that little bit bigger. Something to hold on to when you're opening your zip. So again, down to the bottom, reverse and cut. And on this side, we will start and we'll reverse. And when you're starting from the fold, just make sure that your folded back edges are absolutely aligned. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim a little bit at the top edge, like so. Trim that bit off, that bit of thread, and there. And then at this bottom edge too. So at the folded edge, we are trimming both of those bits off, because we want this to, when we turn it to the right side, we want it to look fairly neat. And just trim that down there, like so. And then we can turn it to the right side. We want it to be just slightly bigger than the width of the zip. Oh, I've got a knitting needle here. And just poke that in, because we want these little ends here. Don't want to poke it through, but I'm just poking into those corners just to give a nice fairly pointed, there we go. And there is our little pocket that the zip is going to go into. But as I said, on this one it's going at both ends, so it actually makes it a little bit easier as well. You could do the same with the Housey bag, but I just decided, because the zip I've got is very long, it's a 22-inch zip, and I'm going to actually trim that off a little bit, because I don't think I want it quite as long as 22, but I've got my two little pockets. So let's just bring those in here. So I've got my two pockets. I have my zip, and what we're going to do first of all is just have a look to see, this is our side of the zip, which is going to fit along here. So I've got this amount of the zip. So here's the zipper pull, and I've got probably about 3 inches from there. And at this end, I've got rather a long piece here. So I'm just, for a moment, just going to pop a pin in there, and you can see how much longer it is at this end. So it goes to here. So I'm actually going to trim, yeah, probably that much. So I've got about 4 inches remaining there. So I've just cut that piece off. And then all we're going to do is pop our zip into one of the pockets. You could pop it all the way down or just partly. I think I'm just going to do partly. I'm going to put a pin on there like so to hold it. And then at this end as well, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So I'm just going to open that a little bit, and then I am going to put this into, and I'm going to make sure it goes, can you see that little metal bit there? I'm going to make sure my pocket goes away over that. That's it. So I know that the metal bit is about there, and I'm just going to stitch here. So having popped that in, I'm now just going to stitch on that edge. Let's have a look. Oops, no, that's it. So I'm just going to stitch on this edge here. So let's just take that little bit off because we don't need that there for the moment. And just hold that or pin that in if you want to. And then we'll just stitch across there. And in fact, what I might do, I might go all the way around on this occasion. Yep, because I want to just secure this really nicely. So I'm going all the way around the edge. And then it feels strange, it's though I'm going the opposite way around to what I usually do. And then around that up here. And then what my initial thought was is that I want 2 rows of stitching across here. So the first line I did, there we are, straight across the top, but I've gone twice along that bit, okay? And then I'm going to do exactly the same at the other end. I should have pressed this first actually, but I didn't. It would have been a good idea to press it, but it is fitting quite nicely. So again, just make sure where you're stitching here, there are no metal bits, because the last thing you want is to break a needle. So just pivot round here and straight down that side and around the base and then up the side, a little bit of thread there. And again, before you position this, just make sure there's no metal. Okay. So we have both of our, there's our bits of thread, we'll chop those off. And there. So we have our, oh, there's a bit of thread there as well. Just take that out of the way. So we have both of our ends with a nice little cover on. So, whoops, not too far. Okay. So now we have our zip. There's a bit there. We have our zip with nice little tabs on the ends. And we now want to put our, here is our outer piece of fabric and the pieces are folded back. So what we're going to do is we are going to, no we're not, we are going to put our, we will put that face down and then we're going to put our zip halfway. Let's just move that out of the way. So, no, we'll put it face down onto the zip. So, we're going to put that, I'm going to centre it so I've got an excess piece of zip coming this side and this side. So I'm going to put the side zip on here and I am going to put a pin just to hold that in place. So just there. Down this end I won't worry because I like to line that up. We'll put one in the middle, but I do like to line it up as I go. So a little pin here and there. And then on the other side, we're going to take a piece of lining. So our calico on this occasion, and we are going to put the calico piece on the other side. So there is it folded back. So we've got it right sides together. And we're going to line that up. So you can see that's perfectly lined up there. So I'm going to take the pin out and pop that back in again. Now, if you are unsure, so there we have the calico at the back, the zip, and the main piece. What you can always do is pop that down, is just pull that back just to see. Here's the right side. If you better see, here's your zip pull here. So when we fold it back, there's the right side of the fabric is correct, and there's the right side of the calico when it goes back as well. So what we will do, we will move our needle. I like to just move that across and we will So we've got it lined up here, and I'm just popping the, either put your zipper foot on, or like I do for ease is move the needle across. And I'm just starting at the side to the side of the zip coil there, and then I'm just making sure this lines up. So you can pin it, but I'm just making sure that the zip is enclosed in there, and just stitch down. We'll take the pin out here, because the other thing, when we get to this end, we want to make sure this lines up. So I'm lining the edge of the zip there, I'm popping the terracotta down like so, and then I'm looking under here, and I can see actually this is a little bit too big, what I've tucked back. So I'm just going to pull that out a little bit. It's all going to be hidden, so it won't matter, but I've just pulled that out just a little bit, so that when I pop that down, I think that's going to line up now. Yeah, that's lining up there perfectly. We could even move the canvas just a little bit, because we want it to be exactly the same distance on both sides. I'm just going to reverse there as well. So we've stitched there. You can see the calico's under here, the zip's in the middle, and the canvas on the top. Then we are going to push that back. I'll just nail press first of all. So just pushing the canvas away from the zip, and then we can do the same with the calico. Move that away from the zip, and just make sure these ends line up, and also the raw edges along here. So just pushing that over and over there, and let's just see that this lines up here. So if we want, we can put a pin in there, which I will do, so because we want that to line up nicely, and we will press that in a minute. I'm going to put a pin in here just to hold this end together as well. But you can see I've got some useless pins here. All my good pins are downstairs. You can see that lines up the calico and the canvas on the other side. So now we need to put the other piece, the other outer, on the other side of the zip. So again, the zip pull is here. So I'm putting this right side down to my zip, lining it with this other piece here. So there is the underneath piece. Just line that up onto the other side. Don't really want that pin in the way. We'll take that out for a minute and use it here. So that's just holding that together, and I can see that that's going to be the same down here. But on the underside, we need to put our calico, our lining strip. So that's a little bit smaller. I'm going to put that underneath, line that up again with the front canvas there, and take my pin out and pop it back in again, just so that's all held nicely lined up. Right, so now I am making sure at this point that the zip lines up with my calico, and then my canvas lines up with the zip tape as well. Okay, so we are ready to go. So again, we'll pop that down, pull that out, and we'll stitch along this side. So I'm just holding that down with my finger at the moment, and then I'm just going to lift it just to make sure that's still lined up. Just press that seam back, because that should be back there, and then bring that there. Oh, this time that lines up perfectly. Okay, so again, pin along that bit if you want to, or just do what I'm doing and keep your fingers down on it and get to that point and back stitch there. Okay, so what we can do again is pull our canvas back to the right side, and I'll just nail press that. We will in a moment. I'll just pop on my iron just so that we can give that a nice press, and then at the back we'll just push that over there, and give that a little crease along there. There we go. So we've got our mat in here. Just make sure we've got our pieces on the underside, and then we can just give that a press. Doesn't matter if your iron touches the zip coil, but I wouldn't iron on it, you know, on purpose, but it doesn't matter if it just catches it. So again, just give that a press. We'll press from the other side as well. So that's just keeping that. We don't really need a pin when that's nicely pressed. And you can see that's kept a nice straight line down the middle. Oops, now you see what I've pressed here. So we want to press that out, like so. And make sure that lines up here. And basically to keep it as neat looking on the underside as, oh, see I've ironed that a bit there. That's melted a little bit, okay. So just keep it away from that center coil. There we are. So that is nicely done there. And now all I'm going to do now is I'm going to top stitch, ignore the raw edge here. I'm going to top stitch down the side, along here and across there. So let's just pull that up a little bit. And wrong way. I want to go this way, don't I? Actually, yeah, that's it. So I need to move my needle position back to where it was, and I'm just going to stitch about an 1/8 inch in from the side. So again, up we go, just up that short one, and then I'm going to go down the side of the zip. So this just holds all, there we are, holds all the layers down and all neatly together. Right. And then down to those raw edges, which we don't mind because they're going to be hidden. So again, we're going to start down here. Just come in that a little bit more. So there we go, we're just going up that side and stop about 1/8 of an inch from that edge, and then we're going to go straight along the side of the zip. Like so. There we are, and then making sure those pieces are lined up there, straight down too. So in actual fact, oh, I hope I haven't melted that. Oh, that was close. That was where I ironed the back of the zip, so be careful with that. There we are. So there is our neat zip with a little tab at each end. Okay, can you see that there? So you could actually put that in any bags that you like, any particular bag shape, and there is going to be our zip tab. Right, so next thing to do. So we have that, we have our sides. We now would like our lining. Oh yes, so this is what we need to do now. We have our lining. So the lining has also got cut out corners here. And what we're going to do is start with just one piece. And so, yes, this is our lining here. Here is the bottom edge. So what we're going to do to put the zip in, so this is the right side of the fabric. We are going to put our zip thing, our zip section, in the center here. So we are going to measure. So let's just have a look. Where is my little ruler? Here we are. So that is 1 1/4. Yeah, that is about, just move that just a tiny bit. 1 1/4. 1 1/4. So that is in the center. And on this occasion, yes, I would pop a pin in here. So we'll put a pin to hold that. and we'll put a pin to hold that. Whoops. Align those edges. Okay, might even put another one in the middle just to hold those. So the important thing is the zip pull is face up, and this is our base of our bag, of our lining. So it's on the lining. This is the right side of the lining. The zip pull is facing up, so this is the top of our zip section. And then what we need now is one of our pieces of canvas, which is then going to sit on the top here. So it lines up with our lining, the whole width of the lining. And let's just pop that pin. I think I used that to go in the end of a glue nozzle. Silly me. And then line that up at that end, and we can take that pin out and put that back in again. So what we have, and this is right side down as well, so we've got the canvas right side down onto our zip, and then all I'm going to do is stitch across here. So just line that up, and with a 1/4 inch seam allowance again, we are just going to stitch across. Take that pin out there. Keep our raw edges all aligned. Okay, and clip. Now this is where you think, is this going to work? So what we have here, if we just hold that up, there is our lining, here is our zip, and here is the other part of the lining. Can you see? So lining, the top of where the lining is, and there's our zip panel. So we need the same on this other side. So let us just swivel that around a little bit. And what we need now is our other lining piece. So make sure that the square cutouts here are at the bottom, because this is going to go, let's just have a look, let's just see here. So we need to work this out. So that is going like so, and then we want to have our other strip is going to come up there. So here's our one side. I can just press that along there. So that's going up there, and we want this to go inside here. So right side down, that is going across here. So again, what we did in actual fact, again, we had the right side of the lining facing up, and we're working with the other side. So this is the opposite side of the zip here, and that is going to be face down and central along here. Now we can actually, let's just move that under there. We can actually do that quite easily, because the sides of the lining are going to line up with the original one as well. So let us just get the lining here, move that across, and then when we go like that, it means that our zip panel is exactly in the half. There's a bit of canvas here. Sorry. So you can see we've done exactly the same as before. We have put our, there's the zip pull here. So we put our, ignoring this, we put our zip section right side up onto the right side of the lining. And then again, we're going to put our other canvas piece and line that up there, so those edges all align. So we'll put a couple of pins in here just to keep those together, and along here, and then again we're going back to the end of the canvas where the zip is located, and we are doing our 1/4 inch seam allowance, making sure they're all aligned still. And go across here. Yeah, I can see there and there, all totally enclosed. Okay, so can you see what we have here? We have our lining. There's our lining, and here are our sides. So nice, and you can see that. So there is our lining. So all we need to do now is, we're just going to tuck that in there because we don't want that to get in the way. And I'm just going to put a pin into there, just into the top, into the zip section, just to hold that. And similarly this end, let's just tuck that in there as well. So I don't want it to go through the lining, because we're going to sew the lining now just like we would a normal bag, but I'm just tucking those out of the way. So the next thing we're going to do is, we are doing what we normally do with lining, right sides together. Here we go. So right sides together at the top as well. So one of the important things is to line this canvas up here. So where the canvas meets the calico, let's just put a pin, because we want that, that's going to show on the inside of the bag. And then similarly on the other side, we're going to line up the top of the canvas and the bottom. I'm actually just facing those down, just to make sure they're lined up nicely. That's it. And we'll pop a pin in there. And then the rest of the bag, as it goes down here into that cutout corner there, should line up. So let's just get that canvas at the top there. Now at the top, I'd just reverse at this bit as well. So start it and then just reverse. And then I've got both of those seams facing downwards. And then here, let's just line the lining and carry on stitching all the way down. And we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. So I won't bother with reversing there because that's going into a seam. So now I'm just going to the other side. Just line that canvas like so. And again, at the top here, let's just reverse, just to keep that nice and secure. Now I've taken the pin out because I'm just checking, and it does, that canvas lines up nicely at the top there. And then at the bottom here, that also lines up. Just keep the raw edges together and stitch down this side, like so. Now at the bottom of the bag, we do need to leave a gap. So let's just draw that down. So I'm going to leave a gap of probably 5 or 6 inches there. So again, we'll start on the reverse, and we'll reverse there and stop. And then we will, we haven't even put the outer bag together yet, have we? Just thought. So then across to the other side. And okay, so we've got our lining done before we've got our right. So now that that's okay, we can take our pins out of here, and we do want to open up. Let's find the zip here. Open up our zip. Okay, so there is our zip already in there. We do need to join our bag together, which we haven't done, and we've done the lining first. But what I'll do while I'm here, I will just make these bag bottoms, these cut-out corners, into our base. So you saw what I did there. There was our corners. We want to squash it down. So squash that, make the seams meet across there, and then I'm just going to stitch across here. So always on this, I reverse at the beginning, straight across, and reverse at the end. And then the same with the other side. Just pull that open, or put your finger inside the hole, squash it like so. Make sure those seams line up. And what I usually do, oh, it's gone the wrong way. Because the seam the other end is going that way, I want that to go that way as well. Doesn't really make a difference, but the seam would be twisted, so you can see there it's not twisted. So again, I'm holding that, pin at that intersection if you would like to, but I find just holding it with your fingers holds it together, and reverse. And then we leave that as it is. Okay, now let's pop that to the side, because that is our lining with our zip there. So we need to come back to, this is a very easy part, we need to come back to our actual bag, the outer. So we're going to put them right sides together. And the most important thing here is where these two seams come together, we want them to be perfectly aligned. So I will put a pin, oh, that's not so much, that's all right. The wadding hasn't gone right up to the edge there, but that doesn't matter. And then here we're going to align this as well. So make sure that is perfectly on top. And we will put a pin in there. So that is where it is the most important. So we're going to line this raw edge up here with our wadding, and we are going to start and stitch down this side. So I do like to reverse at the top there as well. That just holds it together. Carry on down this side. Oh, short stitch. So back to your normal leg stitch. And when I come to this bit here, just take the pin out just before we get to it and keep those edges aligned where the cutout corners are. And cut. Then we're going to stitch along this bottom edge. So make sure those edges are aligned, which they are. And then we'll stitch across here. Whiz across. Go. And then we're going to go, I do like to go from top to bottom, so we'll flip that up so that we can start at that top edge. I can just see, I'm just going to move that over a little bit, I can just see that fabric there, and we'll reverse at the top here again like we did on the other side, like so. And nearly at this piece here where the seams come together, where the bag base, and then just make sure that's nicely aligned, and hopefully when we turn it to the right side we'll have a nice join just where those two bases come to. So here the cutout, so again put your finger in there, pull it open and squash it down. So this is your side seam, there's your base, and they basically come together. I'm just going to flip that around like so. So one seam one way and one the other. This is a little bit bulkier and can shift, so I may and will put a pin in there and then just flatten that down, and then we will pop this under the machine too. So reverse at the end, or the beginning and the end. There we go. Straight across and a reverse. And then we'll do the same at the other side where that hole is. Pop your finger in there and flatten it down. And this is where I do like to see, so that seam there is going that way and this one is going to come that way. So just push those out nicely together, and I should put a pin, but I'm just holding that down like so, and across we go. So that little seam, just make sure that's caught. We'll just trim that little bit off there and just to even that up. And similarly here we can just trim that across, shake that about, and then we can turn it to the right side in the hope that we haven't stitched any of our bag handles down at all. So the first thing we want to do is check that cut that away. We want to check that the is all stitched, which it is. There's a bit there, so that's nicely stitched there, and then the other side as well. There we go. So that there's no holes there, which is just what we want. That joins nicely across there, and there is our bag like so. Okay, so what we need to do now, let's just pick that back. So we have our outer bag. And what we normally do, and what we're still going to do with this, is we're going to take our lining piece. We'll tuck those handles out of the way in a minute. So here is our lining. And the reason we've opened our zip up completely is so that we can put our bag into the lining. So I'm going to scrunch that, pop that into the lining there. I've got my bag handles here, tuck them right out of the way. Let's just turn that over. Bag handles here, tuck those right down the bottom. And then what we have here is the top edge of our lining, and just tuck the zip down a bit, and we have the top edge of our bag outer. So we'll look for the side seams here. So there's a side seam and there's a side seam. So let's just line those up and pop a pin in there. And then we will go to the other side here, and we just want to we want this tab, poke that down out of the way because we don't want to start stitching that. And I've got the two seams here which I'm lining up again, and we'll grab another pin like so. So that is anchored at the sides, and then we also want now this edge here, so there's the zip inside there, tuck that down out of the way, and the same on that side as well. Tuck the zip down, and then we're going to line up this, we're going to line up this top with, we'll do it here. So what I like to do is I put my fingers in at each end, and then I'm just going to put a few pins, more pins than I usually do, around this top edge. So just pull it so that it matches. I can see that that does. And just put as many pins as you feel happy with along here. So, oh, that's a dud pin. And, oh goodness. See, this is why I don't buy rubbish pins. Hello, Susan. You can see. So I'm just going around the top edge here. So again, I'm just pulling one to the other. So there is my lining piece, and it's going onto the outer bag piece. So we'll put a pin in here, in there, and again on this side as well. So we've got a fair number of pins, but you can't have too many around this top edge. So I've got enough in there, so you can see that all the way around it is joined. How far down the top of the lining piece would, if inserting an inside zipped pocket, how far down the top of the lining? I would do it only a couple of inches below, because you've probably got about 10 inches there. So yeah, a couple of inches below the lining piece. Right, so now I'm going to work from the inside of the bag, and I'm just going to work my way around. So 1/4 inch seam allowance, just keep moving your work as you go. Right, and I'll put these duff pins into, so that's back into the pin cushion they came out of. So you just keep moving this around. I haven't taken the or made it a free arm on this occasion because I think it's wide enough just to keep moving the bag around so that you've got a flat length to actually stitch. So I'm just taking the pins out as I go. Another one there. And there too. Coming up to another one. Leave your pins in for as long as you can. It just keeps your pieces in place for as long as possible. So I'm just making sure, whoops, there's a pin there. Oh, just missed it. Okay, so around we come, and we will soon be back to the beginning. And when I get back to the beginning, I'll just do a few more stitches over the first few. Okay, there is my bag. There is the hole. There is the hole in the base. So let's just push our bag out like so. And it is coming together nicely. So what we do want to see is that our corners in our lining are stitched, which they are, and this side here. Lovely. So now for this base, we just want to close this. So I just put my fingers in that hole, and so there is the hole there. So if you put your finger in at one end and the other and just pull, that just gives you that 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I just run my nail along there. Okay, so it's basically, instead of pressing, and I should change my thread really, but I'm going to go from one end to the other. Just take that down. So put the bag out of the way because it's quite heavy, and we'll go fairly close to the edge. As I say, it probably would look a bit better if it were a cream. So I'm going to go so as not to make it look abnormal. I'm going the whole way across the base of the bag, so it even goes where there is a seam, but I'm going the whole way across, so it basically looks as though it's meant to be there. So that's trimmed, so I'm going to cut that little bit, and we'll cut this little bit here, and give it a tug, make sure we've caught it all, and then tuck that, because we opened our zip, we can tuck the lining into the bag. Here we go. So I'm tucking, and I'm just pushing my fingers into the corners, so that's going down into the bag. There we are, there into the corner. Let's just push that down like so, because what we do need to do is, where are we? We need to just top stitch around here. We're going to top stitch around the top of the bag. Is that twisted around? Oh, there we are, that's okay. So we can either press around this top edge, which I think I am going to do that. So let's just, we can do a half zip there, because that is going to go down into there, and pop that down like that. And I'm just going to get the mat so that we can press around the top. There we go. And then we can just top stitch around. So, pressing mat. Put that out of the way. And all I'm doing is pushing that back like so. Get the handles out of the way there. So let's just give it a little press around the top. It would just look so much better when the around here. We've done that zip up. What I'm going to do, I'm going to undo that zip again, push that right down in there. Get those out of the way, push the zip away, just so that I can get around this top edge, to give that a nice press, nice crisp edge. I think you can see in there, like so. And then back along here as well. There we are. And did I do along here? Can't remember whether I did or not. And then around the end as well. Always good. Around this end here. That's got in the way. And just give that a little press, just so that we've got the fabric on the edge. And then we can either do a triple stitch, or actually I would like to do that for, so it's quite nice to do a triple stitch along the top here. Where can I see, have I got a triple stitch? I did it on the triple stitch, no, yes I have. Let us do a triple stitch on here. So on this occasion I am going to take my table off like so, because there we go. I like to do a triple stitch so I can see, so I can put the inside of the bag over the top. And I will also start near the side. I don't like the starting point to be, let's see where we are there. That's a bit far down, so we'll move that over. Right, so I've got mine stitching at about a 1/4 of an inch from the top of the bag. I don't think you'll be able to see this very well, but so it's going backwards and forwards just to give me a more definite stitch. So just take it steady, because it's going 3 times over the same area. So it's stitching, but it's going backwards as well. So because I've pressed around the top, it's just lying nice and flat. Right, I'm just making sure these handles are out of the way, and then we just keep turning our work as we go. And I'm just holding this, just turning that the edge away from, I don't know whether I've done this particularly straight, I'm just looking as I go. Just turn that edge there and just keep manoeuvring it around. And I'll show you in a moment the stitch so that you can see the difference. Mind you, it is on a lighter fabric. I was going to say the difference between the handles and around the top here, but we are on a deeper fabric on the handles, so it just sort of matches it. But I'm just moving that as I go. But try a triple stitch. It really adds, I think. I'm just tucking that under, because it stands out. It's more definite than just your normal straight stitch, which you've done all the making of the bag with. And what we want for this, we want the bag to look really neat around the top edge. So nearly there at the beginning. When I get to the beginning, I just like to stitch over those first few stitches that I did when I started. So just have a look close up and trim. Right, so we have our, oh, not those scissors. Where's my other scissors gone now? Here we are. So wherever we started, we'll see under here where we can just clip those bits off. Okay. So we have, oh, so that's where we started as well. Just clip that bit off as well. But you can see there, love the combination. Yeah, it is rather nice, isn't it? It was which colour do I actually pick out? Okay, so we have completed. So that's the base, obviously. So I'm going to move this back up here. And, whoops. Eek. Thank you, Maria. After seeing a recycle. Oh, you could. Yes, you could. When you selected it, did you use the stitch length? No, I didn't. I actually increased it to 3.5. I like mine to be that little bit longer. Let me just show you. Can you see there? Is that? Yes, so 3.5. And then if you, with the other, you can move the needle position or move your foot. Right, let's just have a look. Where am I? So here we are. So, whoops, no, here we are. So here is our zip. All the way across there. And then it just tucks in like there. So there is your recessed zip. There's little tabs at each end, which I say if you could do just at one end if you want to, or both. Oh, thank you, Dorothy. But yep. So there it is. Just tuck that down. Just need something. Get a few things in there, and that will hold that down. Looks nice. Yes. Oh, thank you. Okay. And just make sure. I don't know whether I said enough. Just make sure your bag handles aren't twisted before you stitch them on. There we are, Sue. So you'll be able to make your Housey bag now as well, won't you? Oh, do you know, I thoroughly enjoy making these. So there's the Housey, which, as I say, is on the website. Next shows I shall have this as well. I've also got one other canvas, which is you could add a pocket between. You could. Now, do you know, who is that saying? That's Jill. I did think about it, Jill, but you know, with the Housey in particular, when I saw it, I didn't want to hide the fabric. So unless I put another piece of fabric in there as well. Yeah, so that is the only reason I didn't. But you could. But I think I would use another piece of fabric like this, so zip sticking out just one end. Yes, it is. On this one, I've just got one. I just put one there. But on this one, I did both ends. So because I've got a longer zip with the this one, I used a 20 odd inch. Oh, that's lovely, Barbara. Yes, I would try it. So with this one, very little difference really, but you've just got your zip going to that end like that. So this, I think, is a 12-inch zip within here. If you wanted to do it the way I have, on the second, thank you, Eileen, with a second tab, you probably could do that, but just by leaving a little bit of zip at the other end. But yeah, the Housey one, I just did at one end because that was the first one I did, and I thought I like it like that. So that is that, and that is that. There we are. So we've got two. Oh, funny how the handles are very similar length, but okay. So a very that was quite a productive session, wasn't it? A little bit longer than I usually am, but I did want to get it all done. So I hope you've enjoyed. Oh, thank you, Patricia. I shall be back tomorrow. No, as I say, low power. Oh dear, I knew we'd be running a bit low. Yes, first of all, the Housey bag kit is on the website. Thank you, Jill. As well as the PDF instructions for all the measurements, etc. And the actual way. Oh, glad you enjoyed, Beverly. Thank you, Tony. Yes, and thank you, Lindsay. But tomorrow I shall do the Thrifty Thursday. It won't be a fabric sale as such, but it's time I did the September subscription box. So I've got some lovely fabrics in the form of a box to you. I've got to sort out what the pattern is, but I shall bring that to you tomorrow night at 6:30. And then on Friday, thank you, Jane. On Friday I shall be here at 4:30. And I shall be doing a new mini quilt. Ooh. I've got some up my sleeve, but I haven't made it yet. So watch this space. Oh, you got your PDF, lovely. Watch this space. We will have thank you, Marilyn. Yeah, a new mini quilt to come. So I've got to have a little play, which means I've got to do a lot of packing. Jill likes mini quilts, I know. I've got to do a lot of packing, get that all out of the way tomorrow, and possibly Friday, because I've got other things to do, haven't I? Mini quilt. Right. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I have waffled on long enough, and this screen keeps wobbling down. I'm going to have to sort it out. So, oh, thank you, Marilyn. Thank you. Yes, thanks for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you tomorrow at 6:30. Bye for now.